All right, let's talk about leaky gut. I often get asked, Sandie, do I have leaky gut? How do we test for it? What can we do about it? And the simple answer is yes. Yes, you likely have leaky gut. Close to 100% chance you have it to some degree or another. And that's because leaky gut is caused by toxins, pathogens, heavy metals, emotional stress. Basically, any stress on the body is going to affect the permeability of your intestinal lining. Now, do we need to test for it? No. Why would we spend money on a test that is going to tell us something we already know? It's the same with heavy metals. People are always like, which test do you run for heavy metals? Well, I don't run them because you have them. They are everywhere. So if we know we have leaky gut, let's not spend money on labs that are just going to tell us that we have leaky gut. Let's instead look at repairing leaky gut. So a lot of people will be like, oh, I got to take some glutamine for leaky gut. I've got to take slippery elm, marshmallow. Let's get some butyrate on board, which are all things that support the gut lining. But they're rather pointless to take if you're not addressing why you have leaky gut. No matter how much butyrate you take, no matter how much glutamine you take, which we want to really be cautious with glutamine. Some people should not take it if they have GAD++ mutations. So that's a genetic mutation that happens on your enzymes in your brain that change glutamine into GABA. And if you have mutations there, it's going to lead to toxic glutamate levels, which you don't want. That presents as headaches, and it could be hyperactivity, lots of things. We want to always test before we check, before we take glutamine. So, these things will definitely support your intestinal lining, but they're not going to fix it until you address why. And so we need to look at toxins. We need to look at pathogens. We need to look at metals. We basically have to take a step back from worrying or even thinking about leaky gut and do a lot of work before that, before we try to take all of those intestinal lining rebuilders, right? Because what's the point of putting all these supplements in if we're just constantly breaking down the lining over and over and over? It's a very vicious cycle. So we cannot live in a bubble. We will never get to zero toxins. We will never get to zero stress. So we can do the best that we can by giving our body tools to repair and remove the pathogens, remove as much toxins as we can. And it really comes down to working on our detoxification pathways. We're not going to get rid of the toxins. So the better we can get our detox pathways working, the better our body's going to be able to handle the toxins. So first step, what do we want to do? We want to rebuild the body, repair the detox pathways. We get started with an organic acids test, a full blood panel, and a genetics test. That's going to tell you how to repair the body. It's not going to tell you how to get rid of the pathogens yet. We're not there. We want to just start to rebuild. So we're going to look at neurotransmitters. Oftentimes, people are in chronic fight or flight. They are full of anxiety. They're full of fear. They're worried about their health. They're worried about their job. They're worried about their family, whatever it is. And that is going to lead to this fight or flight response. Now, when you're in fight or flight, nothing heals. And we know that this stress response can just rip apart the gut lining. So when we run our foundation labs, the organic acids test, the genetics test, and the full blood panel, we are going to first see our neurotransmitters, which really for everyone, we need to focus on them. There's a lot of stigma towards anything to do with neurotransmitters. People will tell you it's all in your head, and then you feel really gaslighted by medical doctors. But the reality is your neurotransmitter balance plays such an imperative part of healing, because if you cannot shift from fight or flight into rest, digest, and repair, you're going to get nowhere. You're only going to get sicker. And when I look at all the clients that I work with, the ones who don't heal are the ones that cannot make that shift. So we want to see the neurotransmitters. We want to see what we can do to support our brain. And we also have to work on mindset, because if you've been in fight or flight for a long time, you've got some recurring repetitive thought patterns based in fear that need to be addressed. Again, you need to shift out of fight or flight, or nothing that we give you, no amount of supplements you take, no amount of good food you eat is going to be enough to shift the body into repair mode. So if you were running from a tiger all day, all day and like nonstop, you're running from a tiger, you would be exhausted. You couldn't do it. Basically, you could not run from that tiger all day long. Your body would give up. You would run out of resources. So when you're in that fight or flight response all day long, your body does not know the difference between the actual physical threat and the thoughts that you're thinking. So when we start putting supplements in and you're in fight or flight, we're not going to get anywhere. The body is like a bank account, and that fear response is the biggest withdrawal you can make because it's like running from a tiger. So when we're wanting to rebuild your bank account and you keep spending all of what we put in, we're not going to get anywhere. So it's why it's not just about focusing on your gut. It's not just about trying to kill a pathogen. It's not just trying to detox something. We actually need to give the body tools to heal. And one of the best things you can do is shift out of fight or flight. So the other thing that we need to see on these foundation labs are your detox pathways. And it's not just about taking milk thistle. It's not just about taking some charcoal. That is really not doing a lot at all. And for some people, you're doing more harm than good. So when we run these 3 foundation labs, the organic acids, the full blood panel, and the genetics, we are seeing a really big picture of your detoxification pathways. We're going to see phase 1, which is all run by CYP enzymes. And those enzymes are starting off the detoxification process. So from phase 1, things either go right to phase 3 or they go into phase 2 for further detoxification. Now, phase 2 is really complex. I'm not going to get into it all here because it would take up the entire video, but you can definitely check out my book, Heal Yourself. In the appendix of the book, I go over all 3 phases of detoxification and all 7 subphases of phase 2. So, and I also have a video, a really quick video that outlines all of them somewhere on my channel. It's probably in the mini lessons on the playlist. And it's on the liver detoxification pathways. So phase 2 has these 7 subphases. One of them you've probably heard about. Well, you've probably heard a little part of it, the MTHFR gene. Now that is a very small piece of the entire methylation cycle. So we need to get not only all of methylation functioning well, we need to get the other 6 subphases also functioning well. And then we also see a really good picture of what's going on with your phase 3 detox. And that is how your body is removing the toxins from your body. So that's going to be the 2 major ones are going to be bile. And so your body produces bile and it leaves through your stool or through your kidneys. Now the skin will pick up the slack. You'll start seeing a lot of skin issues when your detox pathways, when phase 3 bile and kidney function are down, or when they're overloaded. So they might not be down, they just might be really heavily burdened. And then we really start to see a lot coming out of the skin. So we want to check and we want to focus on all 3 of these phases of detoxification, because you cannot repair leaky gut if your body is full of toxins. Your body's not going to be able to handle the toxins in your environment. It's not going to be able to repair your gut lining if it's just trying to survive. So the other thing that we see on these 3 foundation labs are going to be mitochondria, so how your body produces energy. You're not going to repair anything if you don't have any energy to do that process. And again, if you're in fight or flight, you're going to burn through all the energy that you're making, right? So it's why the body as a whole, don't get stuck on one thing. It doesn't matter what health issue, what diagnosis you have, don't get stuck on one thing. That is what stalls people the most on their healing journey, is they hyperfixate on candida or mold or leaky gut or parasites or hormones, and they just grab onto it, and then that's all they try to fix. And when we see the bigger picture, we see how everything works together, we realize we need to address the body as a whole. So we're going to see mitochondria, how well your body produces its energy. Really critical to healing. You're going to get 0 places if you don't fix that. We're going to see nutrient deficiencies. Again, nothing functions if you don't have basic nutrients. And so many people come to me, I've tried everything. You know, I've got leaky gut. I've got these intestinal symptoms. I'm constipated. I have chronic diarrhea. And all they're doing is taking supplements for their gut. It's like, well, have you looked at your basic nutrients? Have you seen what you're deficient in to be like, here, body, here's some tools to heal so you can go and start to repair? And they're like, no, I didn't try that. So you likely have not tried everything. I do hear that a lot. So we want to see our imbalances. We want to see our deficiencies. We want to repair our detox pathways. It's all about, let's give the body tools to heal, because right now most of us are going to be running in a very depleted state. So our body can do really amazing things. It can heal some incredible things. This year, my body removed a 7-centimeter fibroid in my uterus. Very, very miraculous thing that it did. It turned off a COMT mutation that's been active my entire life. So we just have to keep giving the body tools to heal, and then we need to give the body time. So when I run these 3 foundation labs, this foundation protocol takes about 2 months. Basically, unless you're really healthy, we're going to see a lot of deficiencies. We're going to see a lot of imbalances on these 3 labs. So we add in the supplements slowly and we give the body time. And that's, number 2, where people really miss out and stall their healing. Number 1 is they hyperfocus on one thing. Number 2 is their time schedule. They think the body is like going to just take a supplement for 3 days and whoo, I should feel better. It's not how it works. Your body has a massive backlog to deal with, to work through. And you might think that this symptom is like number 1 priority because it's really annoying and you really want to fix it. And your body's like, no, we're trying to stay alive at the moment. We don't really care about that. Let's work on this. And so we have to learn to trust our body's innate wisdom, not think we're in control, not think that we're the boss of it. We just need to trust its ability to repair. It's way smarter than we are. We don't, as much as I know about the body, I can say we are just scratching the surface. So this foundation protocol is all about repairing, rebuilding, and time. And so this is the first step before you even think about leaky gut. You got to take your gut and you need to move it over there, because anything you really try to do, any pathogens you try to kill, anything you try to force becomes another withdrawal on the body. It's all about the body bank account. So we want to repair, we want to build up our reserves in the body bank account, and then think about gut work, because gut work is very stressful when you do it right. You want to get rid of the pathogens in your gut that are contributing to leaky gut. That is hard. That is really hard work on your body. So you better rebuild it first before you put it through all of that. So we're going to get these tools in place, and then we're going to run a Dutch. We're going to look at hormones and adrenals. And we don't do that in the beginning because your body, when it's in fight or flight, when it's struggling to survive, of course your adrenals are going to be off. But the really cool thing is when you work on that foundation, the adrenals normally come into balance. It's normally not an adrenal issue. It is a body issue. It is a stress issue. And so when we start to repair that and we start to focus on just repairing the body, then the adrenals come into balance the majority of the time. Now, some people have really done a number on their body, and it's going to take a lot longer than by the time we get to the Dutch test, which is about month 4. And the same goes with hormones. If you're running from a tiger, your body's not thinking, maybe we should stop. We should reproduce right now. Let's think about making a baby. Like, this is important. It's not important. So just going in and throwing stuff at your body to try to get your hormones to regulate when your body can't survive, it's just trying to survive and it's having a lot of trouble, doesn't make any sense at all. It's just like working on the gut right now. This is all about leaky gut, and we're not even thinking about the gut yet. So we need to think the way the body thinks. And it's all about rebuilding, rebalancing, and just surviving first. So now we've done all this work. We're looking at hormones, we're looking at adrenals, we're adding whatever support we need now, because we're trying to get to gut work. This is the whole goal, is to go and work on our gut. But we need to rebuild and be ready for that. So we run the Dutch. The next step is we need to start moving toxins out really quickly, which I don't like to do anything quickly, but the reality is we're going to start gut work very quickly, very soon after where we are now. So we're like month 4, we're almost ready to start gut work. And when we start gut work, we're going to start killing pathogens. When pathogens die, they release more toxins, and the toxins are going to stress the body. And if you are not able to get the toxins out, you're going to get sick. You're going to feel much worse. People are always like, oh, I'm trying to kill candida and I've got all this die off. Yay. No, bad, harm. It is harm. You are doing harm on your body if you are feeling that extreme Herx reactions. When clients get here with my program, if they're getting here and we're going to be doing this phase 3 detox. We're going to start moving the pathogens out. So we're focusing on things depending on the person, intestinal flushes. We're looking at liver and gallbladder flushes. We're looking at coffee enemas. We're looking at saunas. Really depends on what the person needs. But if they've done that and we go to gut work and they start having extreme reactions, we stop. The body's not ready. Now, I'm very different than other practitioners. I have a checkpoint. I have a recheck of blood work, and I'm looking for very specific markers to be in optimal range. And if you're not in optimal range, I'm not going to give you a gut protocol. I'm not going to move you to the next step. And you can get upset with me, and sometimes clients do, because they all want to go to gut work. They really do. Like it's a weird thing. They've been very, very programmed to think that gut work is the end all be all. It's going to solve all their issues, and it will help a lot. But if you did it first, you would get really sick. So people can get upset and they'll be like, oh, I want to go, I want to do it. And it's like, sorry, you're not ready. And I'm not going to do something. I'm not going to give you something that's going to cause you harm. I'm not going to do that. Your body needs to be ready for gut work. I have been doing this for far too long. We're like going on 9 years now that I've been doing it online, even longer in person. But I've been doing this for far too long to know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen if you rush in, because if we, rewind 9 years ago, and that client said, I want to go to gut work now, I would say, okay, because I was more worried about pleasing people versus doing what I thought was right and what would actually help them heal. And so now I'm not really worried about pleasing people. I actually want people to heal, and I know the process that works. So what we need to do is we have to do those checkpoints. We need to know that detox pathways are ready. And that saves people so much suffering, because we all want to heal leaky gut. I get it. We want to focus on the gut. And when you're ready, you're ready. And then we move to gut work. So we want to look at the different pathogens that are in the gut that are causing leaky gut. And parasites and protozoa are a big one. And sadly, most people run these labs, they check for them, and they test negative. But the reality is they are there. They're not meant to be there, especially not in high levels. And when we address them, a lot of symptoms can clear up, but not while we're doing it. It's not like you're going to start your gut protocol and feel wonderfully amazing. It will take you down a notch or two. Now, if you're at, feeling like 20% and we take you down a notch or two, you're not going to do very well with that. But when we've done this foundation and we've built you up multiple notches from where you were, this gut protocol is very doable. And when we're looking at parasites and protozoa, you need 3 months. You need to cycle your different antimicrobials. I talk a lot about the different antimicrobials that I use in the parasite and protozoa section and the gut section of my book. So you can check out the different antimicrobials there. And we want to use a biofilm buster that entire time, because the pathogens are going to surround themselves with biofilm. And if you're just taking random antimicrobials, you're targeting what's loose, what's not in the biofilm. And then what happens is you stop, and the ones in the biofilm now are more resistant. And I find that when people come to me to work on their gut and to work on healing their body, and they've done all of these parasite protocols or these parasite cleanses, they're the hardest to clear up because they have really caused a lot of resistance. Same with a lot of people who are really hyper-focused on Candida and they've done massive amounts of antifungals. Oh my gosh, like that is so tough to clear up. And, Candida is very much just like leaky gut. It is a result of other things happening in the body. And if you're hyper-focused on it and you're just trying to kill Candida, then you're going to not only do more harm than good, but you will create that resistance. So we're still working on leaky gut. We have been working on stress, which is a big cause of leaky gut. We've been working on rebuilding the body and giving the body tools to repair the gut. We've been working on detox pathways so that the body can handle the plethora of toxins that are surrounding us in our air, in our water, in our food. Like you cannot get away from them. So we're doing all this work already on leaky gut, even though it feels like we're not. And now we're actively working on the gut. We're removing parasites and protozoa that are contributing to leaky gut. Then we're going to retest. We're going to look at a GI map. And we're going to see, okay, let's look for H. pylori, contributes to leaky gut. Let's look for any yeast overgrowth. Let's look for any bacterial dysbiosis. Let's let's look at all these things. And if needed, let's put on a protocol. A lot of people don't need the second protocol. It really is going to depend on the degree of dysfunction that we see in their gut. Some people feel so much better after their parasite protocol. I always do 2 months off in between any gut protocol to give the gut a chance to rest. And this is the time where I'm going to start to use like butyrate and gut support, gut lining support. I love butyrate at this time. Taking it beforehand, it's really not going to do much because we're doing so much to help repair the gut lining on the root cause wise, and we are liberating a lot of toxins during gut work, and it is going to cause more permeability. It's just how it goes. So here's a really good time during these breaks. We focus heavily on, I really like to use SIBO safe probiotics because the majority of people right now are walking around with SIBO. If you have had any antibiotics in your life, the likelihood is you have some degree of SIBO. Any type of medications that affect the gut or the detox pathways, stresses in your life, all of this can contribute to SIBO. Parasites, protozoa, all of this contributes to SIBO. So I always choose SIBO safe probiotics. And again, there's a whole list of them in my book that you can look at. So we take this 2-month break, and then from there, we would be doing the next gut protocol based on the GI map. And then this is where, after that protocol, we're going to test for SIBO, check if it's there. Now, we're still missing something, which we've sort of been working on. Anytime we repair the detox pathways, the body is going to start removing a lot of the toxins itself. Heavy metals are one, though, that do need specific binders, and I do not add them in until now. So, it's a long time from the beginning of when we started, but I find that doing the heavy metal detox before is just too stressful for the body. We want to give the body this whole time to repair the detox pathways. I used to add some heavy metal support into my gut protocols, but the majority of people did not do well with that. It was too much for their body. We're already releasing a lot of toxins. Trying to do heavy metal work at the same time just didn't work. So, it's this whole process just to heal leaky gut, and heavy metal detox takes a lot of time. And the moral of the story is your gut is not going to be perfect. You're not going to have zero leaky gut because we cannot get to the toxin, the low toxin load that we were originally meant to have. It's just not possible in this day and time. We cannot avoid we're breathing in the air. So we will always have toxins. Even right now, we live on a homestead, say 5 years from now, where all of our fruit trees are producing, all of our food is producing, and we're able to grow our own food. Now, unless something totally changes, which we can always pray that it does, right now, with everything that's being sprayed in the air, the food that I'm growing is still going to have toxins in it, even though I don't put anything on it. And the air that I'm breathing is still going to have toxins in it. Our water is pretty clean. We've got that under wraps. We have our well water, or we have filtration. So water is really good. And it would be really great if there was nothing and then we could eat this really good food and our air was really clean, but it's not reality. So when we let go of needing it to be perfect, we let go of, thinking that we're going to have zero leaky gut, we're going to have no intestinal permeability. And we realize that we can live a really healthy life. We can feel really good while still being exposed to these toxins. But it all stems from getting the body as healthy as we possibly can by building up our reserves in our body as much as possible so it can handle these stressors. So I hope that helped you. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out and make sure you're talking to your practitioner about getting the right labs, because the labs are going to tell you what your body needs to heal. And when you just focus on giving your body tools to heal, you are going to start moving in the right direction.